Okay, guys, we're going to add some extra detail to the Pontiac Fiero Indy Pace Car replica. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about this kit is, under normal circumstances with the V6, you don't see it as much, especially if you paint the whole rear of the passenger compartment here black. But if you are doing a 4-cylinder like me, there's a whole lot less engine in there to cover all of this up. So you're going to see all of this here when you open the rear deck lid. So what I want to do is I want to dress up the firewall similar to what's in the real car by adding a little bit of detail. Now the first thing I did was actually make a solid firewall by using a piece of sheet styrene, just a flat sheet of styrene cut and place what I'm going to glue in on the back of the passenger interior tub, and then we're going to lay it in here, and you can see there that it creates a whole firewall behind the, well, actually in front of the engine. Now, I was also looking at some photographs of the engine compartment, and I noticed all the detail that it has on that firewall. So I'm going to try and replicate some of it here so that we can busy all of this up, so that when we put it all in the car, you'll have all sorts of visual interesting items to look at back here. We're sort of greebling it up. I'm going to put a picture of what that firewall looks like right here. And then we're going to talk about what I'm going to be adding with all of this stuff I have laying here. Now, if you look at the picture, you can see that there's two prominent AC lines that sit on the back, just in front of the engine, on the firewall side with a heat shield. And we're going to try and replicate that here on the sheet of styrene that I have cut for the firewall itself. Now, let's move that picture out of the way, and let's take a look at what I've done here. Now here I've made my first, if I can pick it up here. Okay, here I've made my first AC line. You can see here the metal line going into the fitting and the rubber hose at the end. And that is going to sit here. As you saw in the photograph, there's a AC line that sits against the wall, the firewall here. And then there's going to be another one up here. So we're going to need two of these. And then they're going to go behind the heat shield, which we're going to make right after we make these. So I'm going to show you how I created this AC line. And really very simple. Now, the line itself is made from the bead landing wire. This is used for jewelry or all sorts of ornaments or stuff like that. And it's a really nice stiff wire. It's got a nice chrome finish to it. Maybe a little shinier than what the car really has, but I kind of like the metallic finish, and it's going to look nice in the engine compartment. Then for the compression fitting on the line, whoops, as I just dropped all of my beads out. Okay, good job there. Oh, that's why, because I didn't remove the cover. Well, I got these beads. I have to pick them all up later. Here, also from Hobby, got all of this stuff at Hobby Lobby. These are crimp beads for jewelry, and they come in various sizes. So there was one size here that was perfect for our compression fitting on the line. I don't know if you guys can see it there. And then for the final part of this line, some heat shrink tubing. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slide I can't believe I just spilled all of that. See guys, this is all done live. I would edit it out, but I'm a little lazy. I'm not doing that. We're going to slide the bead over the line. We're going to slide our hose over the wire. Then we're going to heat this up. We're going to heat the line up. And we're using our soldering iron here because my heat gun is not close by, and I don't really feel like getting up to get it. Takes a little longer this way. Okay, there we go. We got enough here to make our line. Okay, now we're just gonna cut. I'm gonna use the thinner part here. Now, basically all that we do is we join our bead to the rubber hose. Straighten it out, make it look nice and neat. Now, in order to prevent things from moving, we're going to put a little bit of super glue. I'm going to take a drop of super glue and put it on our line here. Then we're going to move that here. We're going to bring this right up against the hose there, and center it up so that it looks like there we go. We might have to heat this up a little more to shrink down part of the there we go. Okay, I am much happier with that. Okay, then we're going to cut our wire free here. I'll do a little measurement as we need to have them lying just slightly Okay, so that's where our bend is going to be. So we'll take our bending pliers here. And we'll make a nice, gentle bend. Right there. And there you go, guys. There we have our 2 AC lines that are going to be laid out. Here, if I can get them to cooperate. And here, just like so. And then we're going to place our heat shield right above them, right about here. So now we have to make the heat shield. So we're going to do that next, and then we're going to start plotting out where we're going to lay everything on here. But that, guys, is how you make AC lines with compression fittings, or how I make them for this build. Next, we're going to start on our heat shield. Alright, guys, so now we're looking at all the components that I'm going to be adding to the car. Now, I mentioned that we're going to take a look at the heat shield that I made, and this is it right here. Basically, I just took a couple of pieces of really thin styrene. I added a couple of arms to simulate the brackets that hold the heat shield to the firewall or to the bulkhead. Glued them on there with a little bit of Tamiya, and we have our makeshift heat shield. Now, this is where this is the position the hoses are going to be in, and the heat shield is going to sit pretty much something like that. Well, you know, if we keep the hoses together. Pretty much something like that. Similar to what you see in the car, right in this picture right here. So, here we have our bulkhead. Everything's going to be attached to the bulkhead. I may add some more details, maybe a couple more greebles on there, just to make it look a little more interesting than just a flat piece of styrene. And then we'll get back to building. But for now, you guys have seen what it's going to take to make this firewall bulkhead, as this project is taking... Oh, one other thing I wanted to discuss before we end this video. I added an intake tube to the air cleaner. Now, this intake tube is actually the original one that came with the car, but it was made for the MPC kit. And this being the monogram kit, did not have anywhere to attach the intake tube on the chassis, unlike the MPC kit. So basically what I did was I actually took the intake tube, I cut the end of it, turned it around backwards, so that I put the end that fits the body onto the air cleaner itself, and the end that's supposed to be on the air cleaner goes to the body. And that fit perfectly to simulate the intake tube for the air cleaner, or as much as you'll be able to see of it when it's inside, when it's sealed inside the car. You'll see that much, so that you'll at least have some sort of an intake tube going to the air cleaner, and it's not just open to nothing, which gives it a little bit more of a realistic look. So by reversing the way it's mounted and cutting the end of it off, I made a nice little intake tube that will fit this kit batch that I'm doing here. So, I'm going to go to the paint booth, and after I add a couple more greebles to this, we're going to just go ahead and put some color on it. This is going to be the same black as the rest of the engine compartment, so that our bulkhead will match everything there. Curious note on this kit, this monogram kit, the MPC kit actually brings a piece of bulkhead that attaches here to the engine compartment to form the bulkhead part of the wall, while the monogram doesn't. The monogram only has basically the open part of the passenger compartment here, which, while when everything is said and done and the model's put together, really doesn't look bad because you can barely see any of it. But I think the added detail that I'm adding is going to improve what we have there. So I'm going to be adding basically what the MPC kit already has, which is a bulkhead here, where we're going to add all of our detail parts. So those are the plans, guys. Okay, guys, here we have the finished painted and assembled firewall with the AC lines attached, along with the heat shield and a few little greebles I threw in there, just some raised edges, just to fill in the wall so it's not just one big empty space. So I'm going to install it in the car now, just to get a look at what it's going to look like when it's completed, and give you guys a quick peek at what it looks like in the car. Alright guys, and here we have the finished product all assembled. Let's give you a better look at that. You can see the AC lines and the heat shield on the firewall there, and the air cleaner mocked up, just to get a look at what everything's going to look like when it's all together. I do think that this worked out pretty nicely. What do you guys think? Alright guys, that's it for this little update on... Let's give you a little bit of light there. That's it for this update on the Indy Fiero build and a little bit of the added details I've put on the engine compartment. And we will probably be adding more stuff. So I'm going to leave it here. And I guess I will see you guys on the next one.